I could take any statement like Mr. Natural's music school. Okay? So what do I hear? Mr. Natural's music school. Tarzan, elephant, Tarzan, drum. Dum bum ba da dum bum bum bum. Got what I'm getting at? Now we did this for like 10 weeks, and I'm gonna end it here. But I just want to show you there's a way of using your right brain. There's a way of taking words that have a certain divide up the time into a certain number of syllables, and it could be any words you want. I just used drum, Tarzan, alligator, and elephant because when Angel and I were doing this with kids, we went and saw that Disney movie Tarzan. And as we were watching the movie, I noticed that the music had certain rhythmic themes it was using all the time, and these words kept coming up. So we just used a Tarzan theme, a jungle theme, to come up with words. But if you're Gothic and you want it to be, you want it to be blood, 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 heartbeat, Terminator. Blood, blood, heartbeat, heartbeat, Terminator, Terminator. Or heart-nator, heart-nator, terma-beat, terma. I'm fine with
food. Pepperoni pizza.
Pepperoni pizza. Or musical instruments, drum, tuba, synthesizer. Drum, tuba. So what you do is you take, there's 6 words. You find 6 words that fit those rhythms, whatever they are, your favorite 6 words. If you're German, find German words that have that natural rhythm. If you're Swedish, find Swedish words that have that natural rhythm. If you're French, find French words that have that natural rhythm. Learn those 6 words, learn to composite them together in different ways to generate all these things, and you will be able to note-take rhythm almost instantly, okay? Almost instantly, because the whole thing becomes a right brain process, and you can do it with your feelings on the go, instantaneously. Okay? So that was the first thing we learned. This helps you conquer rhythm. The next thing to learn to write in music is to take these rhythms and put them together in what we call song forms. Imagine if I gave you a bunch of Legos and I said, now I'm going to give you Legos, Stan, and I want you to put the Legos together and build the Empire State Building. I'm going to give you, Richard, a bunch of Legos, and I want you to make the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm going to give you guys a bunch of Legos, and I want you to make a round ball. Figure it out? All right? I'm going to give you Legos, and I want you to make an Indian chief with a bow and arrow. Can we do it? Yeah, go to Legoland. Go to Legoland and watch what they do. With one block, the same size block, they put millions of them together and can create and sculpt anything you can think of, right? So what are they doing? Is it about the block? No, it's about the overall form that you want to create, the larger architecture. So these things are plugged into something called song form. And a good example of song form is a cathedral. I steal a lot when I'm writing music. I do one of 3 things. The first trick is to write a poem, look at the natural code words that are in the poem, write a melody from that, and find chords for it. That's what most guitar players do. They start by strumming a chord progression, then make up words to that chord progression, or they already have a poem and they're trying to find the chords to the poem and then flush out the melody. But it's about the same, slightly different twists on the same process. If I had to build a cathedral, I would use a song form known as A, B, A. This is the single most used form in architecture. And there is not a cathedral in the world that was built before the turn of the century that doesn't use this form. Here's an example. I have a building. So what I do to create this ADA theme is I put another little building here on the side. I put another little building here on the side. Then what I do is I want to put a big cross on the top of my cathedral. So what I do is I put little ones over here. Then what I do is I want to create a doorway entrance. So I use a big round door like this that's cut in half. But over here, I'll use a square door. and a square door. I want to put a great big piece of stained glass here. And then what I'll do is I'll put 2 long strips of stained glass here. You see what I'm getting at here? If I keep this idea of A, B, A, and keep doing this ad infinitum, adding more and more detail, eventually I'll get a Gothic cathedral. And if you look at most Gothic cathedrals, you'll see that this is the song form that they're using. So this could be one melody and one harmony. This could be another melody and harmony, and then this would repeat that first one. So if I can plug my harmony, plug my rhythms into forms like this, it will automatically start making sense. And songs and structure and architectures of various sort will come out. A lot of composers, all they do is choose the song form they want and just cut and paste into it. You know, most jazz songs are 32 measures long, and most jazz songs are A, B, A. And the songs we're going to study tonight, you will see, they all use this A, B, A structure. So, this is also, if you were building houses, this would be the Western ranch house. Mm-hmm. You know, the ranch house with the little garage on the side, that kind of. So, using song form or some kind of architectural large thing, and then plugging the rhythms in, is a simple way of starting to write music. So, and if I'm looking at music and I want to play this music, the first thing I do is I go through looking at the rhythms, read the rhythms, see if I can clap them while I tap my finger, or sing the words, which will generate those rhythms for me, so I can recognize it, and then look at the overall song form, because if you find out that something is A, B, A, then there's only 2 things you have to study. You study the B section, you study the A section, memorize those, and then you just repeat the A section 3 times. So you don't have as much. So if you're learning to study a piece of music, if you look for these structures, there's less to study, isn't there? Out of 32 bars, there's only 8 bars you've got to learn. And then it's how you repeat those 8 bars that creates the song. In most songs, it's verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. The chorus is almost always the same, and the verses change to tell us a story, to advance a story. And if we do that, verse, chorus, where each verse is advancing the story and the chorus is a hook, we call that a ballad. So again, it's a structure, and we're just plugging stuff in. Now to get on with the next thing. The next thing is to be able to read melodies. Now, to read melodies using number, what we've discovered is this pattern here is the most common pattern, and it's a pattern which I call the circle of thirds. And if we look at this numerically, it goes 1, 3, 5, 7, all of the odd numbers, and then 2, 4, and 6, the even numbers. And this pattern occurs over what we call a 2-octave bandwidth or range. The thing that we use to write music is called the staff. And this is, again, one of those things where I claim something completely different than the rest of the world. The entire world will tell you that what you're seeing is 5 lines and 4 spaces. And there's not a book that you can find that won't tell you that. But they're wrong. Now, as simple as this is, I would like to say this to both cameras, the entire world is wrong. The whole world is wrong. There's not a single book that won't tell you it's 5 lines and 4 spaces. And they're wrong because they have a limited mind script and they're only looking inside the lines. But if I look carefully here, I see a space here and I see a space here. So what I see is 5 lines and 6 spaces, 5 lines and 6 spaces world. Get it straight. And the reason for that is that creates 11 notes. Now we're using 7 notes for do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So 7 and 7 is 14, right? So 11 notes allows me to almost notate that whole thing. And when I need to flesh out 2 full octaves, which is what the bandwidth of most singers and most instruments are, only 2 octaves wide. So this whole system is about 2 octaves. And then after 2 octaves, the whole thing repeats over and over and over again. So what I need is these things known as ledger lines. So when I need them, I can put these little extra lines above and below the space. And for every ledger line I put down, I'm creating the line and I'm creating a space above it. So every time I draw a line, I'm creating two possible notes, right? The line itself and then the space above it.